Welcome back to the engine room. We have my Coleman CT-200-U in the shop today. Last time I was in here, it got the Go Power Sports jug averter with the Stage 1 tuner kit, and I've put some time on it, and it's been great. It keeps it in the RPM range, keeps it where it wants to be, and this thing, it runs phenomenal. But biggest downfalls of this thing, got the zero traction tires on it, so I've laid this thing down a couple times and it's time for tires. Too much horsepower. Need some big old meats. So got these mud terrains, they're SUNFs. They call it all terrain, but it's more of a mud terrain. So they're 19 tall, 7 wide on an 8-inch rim. Got the pair of these, one for the front, one for the rear. These tires, the stock tires, are actually different. So that's the front. It's got like this radial, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. And then the rear has more like this drive cog. I don't know what you want to call it. But anyways, it's got going in a straight line is no problem, but there's not a lot of shoulder. So once you start cornering, it's problematic. These look pretty flat on the top, but once I inflate them, I've seen pictures of them and they ball out pretty nice, or they round out. So it should ride pretty good. We'll see. It was between these and more of just like a straight standard knobby, but I wanted something that was a little bit more of a mud terrain. So we'll see how they go. So that's number one. We're gonna do the tires first. And then while it's in the shop, I'm gonna go dig into the engine a little bit more. So right now we have governor deleted. I have a billet flywheel with stock timing. So stock timing on this is 24 degrees before top dead center. 18 pound valve springs to keep the valves from floating. I have the VM22 carburetor and the header pipe. So I'm gonna open this up. I have the stock connecting rod still in it. I have got the Arc Racing 6254. This is a stock length connecting rod. I'm not replacing the piston, so we're just gonna do a connecting rod. This is more for safety purposes to keep it from throwing through the block and destroying the motor. So I already have a billet flywheel, but now we're gonna have a billet connecting rod. This is gonna be pretty much bulletproofed. So these are really cool. They have a orifice for oil pickup to try and drive more oil up into the main bearing. It's got replaceable main bearings, and they're just built really nice. Be able to just like, if this engine blows up for some reason, I can pull it out, use it again, use it elsewhere, replace the bearings. So this is just this was an investment really just to protect the engine overall, but we're gonna do that. I got the DynoCams Mod2 cam. So I didn't want anything crazy aggressive, but I wanted definitely something better than the stock cam. So this is designed for pretty much the entire RPM range, or it's supposed to be. I've watched a bunch of reviews on it and read a bunch of information. So it's not crazy aggressive in any RPM range. It's just kind of happy at all speeds. So relatively mild, but way spicier than the stock. So this requires timing advance. So I got a 6-degree timing key. In here, it's a cut key. So this will go, I'll pull the flywheel off, we'll put this in, and this will bring us to 30 degrees before top dead center. So that's where this wants to be. Stock is 24, so we're gonna go up to 30 degrees. We're gonna do a timing advance, the cam, the connecting rod. Yeah, so should make a lot more power, and in theory, it should rev a lot higher too. I had this to about 6,000 RPM, turning. The highest I ever saw on the tack was 6,050, and I was probably turning about 50 miles an hour. So we should get a couple more miles an hour on the top end out of it with this setup. So the fastest I ever saw this thing go, I had at about 6,050 RPM on the tack, and we were turning probably 48, 50 miles an hour consistently. So this should give us better torque, better horsepower on the low end, and then it's supposed to rev to 7,000 plus. So we'll see what it does, but should be kind of interesting. We'll tear this motor down again. I'm gonna do the tires first, pull the chain off, do the tires, and then once it's sitting on the new wheels and tires, I'll just take everything apart. I don't think I'm gonna pull the motor out. I think it might be easier to do in the frame, but we'll see. We'll play with it. I'm gonna tear into this. One spacer on either side. Ooh, they might be bad. All right, these bearings are definitely wiped out. I mean, I can't even turn them with my fingers, so I got new bearings coming. I ordered them anyways, just gonna do the fronts and rears. It's easy enough to do, so We'll start by doing the tires, and then when the bearings come in, we'll pop them out. Oh, that was easy. All right, there's one bead. This one has a longer shank, so, or a flatter profile, rather. There it goes, beautiful. All right, nice and easy. So this has the flat profile. This side has the taper. So it's easier to pull it from the taper side, or easier to break it, easier to pull the tire off from that side. That's one. Do this from this side, even easier. That's it. There's your rim. And my Murphy's tire lube. I'm not going to go too crazy with this, but just a little on the bead just to help everything come along and seal up. This portion is very important because that's where the bead grabs and then slides and works its way up. We'll get this bead seated. Get that filled up. All right, get this bead seated. Put this valve stem back in. These are 7 PSI tires, so bring it up to 7 and then I'll let some air out. Okay. I mean, that's nice. 4-ply to 6-ply, so they're definitely gonna be harder, but we could probably run a little bit of a lower pressure. So, but they have a nice amount of curve to them, so it should be good. We'll see. See how they steer. I got to do these bearings because they're wiped, but I'm just gonna put the tires back on. Just it's easy enough to do. Just 2 washers and a nut. Washer. Not gonna go crazy with it right now. Probably put Loctite on it when I finish it all up, but it's pretty nasty. It's good. Far cry from what it was. All right, front's done. It's a far cry from that. So went from this soft 4-ply to a 6-ply. A lot more grip. So should be good. I'm gonna move on to this rear now. Not too bad, but I'm gonna pull the cover off the jug averter, pop the chain off, and then pull chain, pull the rear tire. I don't want to have to pull the sprocket, so I don't know, I might fiddle with it. I may have to, but we'll see. Not too much belt debris. Thought there would be more. I mean, it's a good amount of it, but not too bad. I'm gonna have a little time before I gotta put this chain back on, so I'm actually gonna throw this in a little container with some penetrating oil and get it good and lubricated. This little PB blaster. Give it a good soak. Perfect. All right, let's pull this back wheel off. Same as the front. 3/4, but it's metric, but whatever. It's fine. Does the same job. So you got the main axle, you got the spacers, you got the spacer for the caddy, spacer for the actual wheel, and then the brake assembly. So brake assembly is, it's 10mm, and then I gotta pull that little cotter pin out of there, the little safety. Another cotter pin, and that's hand tight. It should be tighter than that, but that's why it has the cotter pin, to keep it from coming out. And that lock washer should be in the other position. Assembly, we'll save that, put that to the side. I'm gonna put the cotter pin back in so I don't lose it. That's that. Now I'm just gonna loosen up this cog for the brakes. I'll take that completely off and out of the way. It's just easier, otherwise you gotta fight it. Okay, there's our brake cable and the drive cog. So I'll take that out. Just don't want to lose anything. I like putting everything back the way that I found it. That goes on there, and brake tensioner goes on there. That's pretty much it. So now everything's loose, back wheel's loose. So all I need to do is just pull this axle out, and this whole wheel will come right off. There's a brake drum, and ooh, those are toast. Or at least that brake shoe is toast. So I actually have a set of shoes for this, which is kind of cool. So I'll put a new set of shoes on here, we'll be good to go. That definitely got hot. These bearings seem better than the fronts, but I'm gonna do them regardless. It's worth it. I already bought a 4-pack, so I'll just pound them out, put in the new ones. Even the rear feels pretty good. No, not bad. I think these are all the same length. Pop those out so we don't lose them. Yeah, and that's the idea. So the pressure is on the bearing on the inner race. Cool. 4 spacers, 2 tensioners, brake unit, axle bolt, and then the nut is on the other side. So it's the whole rig. All right, this rim has a similar taper to the front. So I'm gonna work it all off of the side with the valve stem, or the brake side, whatever you want to call it. Pull this valve stem first, let the air out. We'll see how we go braking speed. Okay. So, she's out. She's in good shape too. I'm gonna hit this with a little Myers, and we'll get that new tire on. This one's nice because it's nice and stable. Got a place to put the put the sprocket. Probably, maybe I'll do this on the floor. Might be better. But this tire's pretty wiped. Got a little bit of meat left. We'll save it for a different project or whatever else. But lubricant makes all the difference. It really makes life easy, especially when it comes to seating the bead, because you really don't have to go too crazy with over pressurizing the tire to get the bead to seat. It helps it seal, helps it seat, softens up the rubber a little bit. Our new tire, these are not directional. the old ones are technically. So not really too much to worry about with these. There's one bead, so that one snapped up. Let's see, get the other. There she goes. Perfect. Awesome. Get this down to 7, 10, 7. Could always let a little bit more out later on. All right, old and new. Take our old brake shoes off. So that shoe's not bad. This one is completely wiped. Got a new brake kit. These came, there's no part number on this. When I got this bike, I got it from another guy and he gave me a box of parts with it. And with those parts was a brand new set of brake shoes. So we got our old, got our new. Do a little anti-seize on these just to keep everything happy. Got our ring and our flats. And this one had the springs facing in. So, I don't know, they're the same on both sides, it looks like. Yeah, they're the same, so I'm just gonna... There she is. This one's gotta go down a hair. Cool. These are brakes. Cool. Brand new. There's our tires. Just gonna tighten that up. Put these tensioners to the side, so we'll throw them on after I do the wheel bearings. So we're gonna work on the engine now. Yeah, that's nice. That's gonna be mean. Cool. Okay, tires are done. Next step on this is to pull off this torque converter set. So I'm gonna pull this clutch, this belt first. Let's see. Come on. Okay. There's our belt. Not too bad, a little worn, but this is the Go Power Sports belt. It's got a little bit of a concave to the top. A lot of pressure on this, but pretty cool. So we'll see how long that lasts. I have some extras, but that's one. Next is to pull this jug converter off. Okay. My bolt, this is the driver nut for the end nut for the standard torque converter. I just needed a spacer for this that grabbed properly, and this is like perfect. So I don't know. It comes with all different, there's always different hardware and I found a lot of like oddball stuff with spacers and shaft dimensions and shaft depth for threads. So whatever works, and this works. There's really not too many places that you can pull from on this, so. Not bad at all. Okay, there's a jug inverter, or juggernaut driver, Keep that all together. Our keyway. Or key rather. There's our key. And then on it we have the spacer, double shaft spacer. So it's a washer and a spacer. These are all 13 millimeter. There they go. And there is our juggernaut, or our torque converter. So I'm actually going to thread these back in. Actually, no, I'll put them to the side. I want them out of the way. Okay, so we're completely clear. Check that back bearing. I mean, not too bad. So we'll see. We'll see how long that lasts. If those bearings get wiped like they did on the other one, it was from a previous video that I did. I had a Chinese version of this. The bearings wiped out, so if I gotta replace them, I'll put something better in there, but I mean, so far so good. Cool. All the torque converter stuff to the side, keep it nice and together, and we can get tearing into this engine. So first thing we're gonna do here is drain oil. I mean, I probably only have 6 hours on this oil, but it's a hard 6 hours. Oh, that's compromised. Oh, it's fine. Okay. I'm going to disconnect this carburetor. So I have a fuel shut off on here, which is really nice, really convenient. So I'm going to just leave the fuel shut off on there and just cut this zip tie. If that wants to come off, I'm probably gonna have to cut that piece of rubber hose. I'm just gonna snip it now and then I'll put a new piece on afterwards. So, there's our fuel. And then we'll pull the throttle cable out. Pull this nut off. You're gonna pull the nut off for the flywheel. You're gonna pull this flywheel off. Okay. Flywheel nut. You're gonna need that nut because we're gonna smack this guy off because it's a tapered shaft. I got my bar. Basically pry against it. There we go. Beautiful. There's our flywheel. Knock that key out. There we go. Beautiful. So now we're pretty clear, and our head is clear, so I'm gonna pull that spark plug out, pull valve cover, pull push rods, and then we'll pull this whole head off in one shot. I don't want to fiddle around with the carburetor. It's not really worth it. All right, still pretty clean. This engine's got about 6 hours on it. And I guess I did put the thin head gasket on it. I did valve springs on this, so I had to pull the head off. So I guess I did do the thin head gasket. So we have been running high compression on this motor. But we're gonna put a new one on anyways. May as well. So there's our head. I'll pull that piston out. A little carbon on there. Cool. Okay, I'm gonna pull the side cover off, pull this piston out. Cam came with it. We got a little bit of wear. Yeah, this is already a dirty rag, but it's always some metal, no matter what you do. There's our stock cam. Put the side cover to the side, just out of the way for the time being. There's our stock cam. We'll compare it to the other one, but you could see how pointy the lobes are. This, I mean, what is that, intake? Intake has a little bit more duration. Exhaust is very sharp, very short. Our compression release, throw out. Yeah, so should be a good upgrade. So that's number one. Pull the cam out. We're gonna take these flat tappet lifters out. $10mm bolts. Come on. There we go. She's out. Not in bad shape. A little bit of oil. I mean, a little bit of residue on the top and around the crown, but a little bit of wear in there. Not too shabby. So there's our piston. We're going to reuse the original piston. Right out. And there she is. So I never pulled this out last time I did this, but now I'm going to just knock this the governor gear off. It's not in use anymore, so definitely see some color on there and a little bit of scoring. Nothing too bad, but I was cranking this thing pretty hard, so that's everything. Crankshaft, cam gear. This is the gear for the governor, end for the flywheel, tapered end, drive end, piston, connecting rod, cap bolts, flat tappets for the cam, and stock cam. So I'm gonna wipe this back out, grab my micrometer, check everything for the new connecting rod, put the new connecting rod on that piston, and then this can start going back together. So we're going to remove this original stock connecting rod. There's just this little clip in here. Should be able to just pull out. Yep, that's her. And then the wrist pin. Probably push it from the other side. There she goes. That's the orientation. There's actually an arrow on this. That arrow there, that points down when it's in the engine. So arrow points down, and then the long end of the connecting rod goes in that same direction. So it's our ARC 6254 insert bearings. And our new connecting rod. So there's our stock rod, and there's our new billet rod. I mean, same length, same profile for the most part. This one's got a little bit more beef to it. shorter pickup, but it has that orifice that runs up into that main bearing, which is pretty cool. So I'm gonna put that to the side, no longer need that. Now we can put this rod into the piston. So get a little bit of oil out here. I don't have assembly lube, so I'm just gonna fill the top of that and just use it as a point for oil. Okay, so this facing up, piston arrow facing down. Put that in. And then we can put our clip back. Got that seated all the way down. It's got a little groove. And we are good to go. So rod is installed onto the piston. Arrow facing down. So this is our new DynoCams Mod2. Compare that to the new cam, or to the old cam rather. So our DynoCams Mod2. It's got a slide type, spring-loaded throw out for the compression release. And then you can even see how different the lobes are. This is intake, and the one that's further in is exhaust. I mean, even both of them are way more duration. I mean, intake is so pointy on this. So it should be interesting. So while we have the side cover off, I'm just going to drop this cam in. Just gently. That's that. All right, so that's what the concern was right there. So we have enough clearance for that to come all the way around. There's your intake clearance and exhaust clearance. All right, should be good. Just gonna do a quick check on this crankshaft. So the instructions say it should be 1.188 of an inch with 5 thousandths clearance, 5 thousandths differentiation. And I'm locked in at 1.188 and we are good. Across the board, checked in a million spots. It's a pretty new motor, so should be fine. All right, I just knocked this ring off. This is the governor ring, so don't need that, the governor gear. So that's gone. I'm just gonna wipe this clean and this can get reinstalled into the engine. Just gonna hit it with a little oil on that bearing surface and on this bearing surface. Okay. I'm gonna pull these cap bolts. No, these are actually ARP bolts. That's interesting. Not bad. Washers are actually directional, so you don't want to mix them up or take them off and flip them over. These are our Billet bearings. They are the same part number. There's a little stopper right there, so it can only go in one way. Which is kind of interesting. Wow, that's super nice. That lines up with that hole right there, which is cool. And it's got a orifice that runs all the way around. And then on this side, it's got a little cutout right there. Get centered and snapped in. A little oil and bore. And do a little flathead screwdriver action on this one just to get her in there. All right, time to torque this connecting rod. So I have a little bit of a large 3/8 torque wrench. So this is a 1/4 inch 12-point socket for the 12-point studs. Got a reducer, and this is 3/8 drive. So calls for 60 inch-pounds. So you get them both to 60, and then you bring them up to 150, and then you back them down to 100 and retorque again, alternating 20 inch-pounds side to side until you reach 150. And 170 inch-pounds if you use motor oil. So we're gonna set this to 5 foot-pounds for the first round. So I'm gonna force that down like that so I can get to it. So she's ready to go. Actually, it rotates that direction. It goes down, then she comes in contact, scoops the oil, shoots into that bearing, brings it around. So that's ready to go. Okay, next we're gonna put the tappets back in. So these are the original tappets. Just gonna give them a little lube. Push each of them back in. That's 1, 2. And then we're going to take our new cam and install her. Do a little motor oil on that end. Rotate this around till we have our timing mark. Timing mark is right there. This is oiled up. Let me put a little oil on those lobes too. Can't hurt. And then we are good to go. There's our timing mark. And we are lined up. So new cam is in. And we are ready to reinstall the side cover. So I have a new gasket. Okay, there's our side cover cleaned up. Grab our gasket kit, put this thing back together. Gaskets. All right, side cover gasket on. That's nice, good quality. And we're going to do a little blue Loctite on all these when we put them back, and they're going to get torqued. Okay. That. Okay. We're going to torque these. These get torqued to 17 foot-pounds, so we're gonna okay. Side cover's back on. Let's start working on this head now. All right, got our new head gasket. We're gonna spray this. We're gonna high tack it. So got a little cardboard here. This is just head gasket spray. Flip her over. Both sides. Put that right on there. Then we can bring that head over and put that on. All right, put our head back on. Torque spec for our 4 head bolts is 22 foot-pounds. We're going to go to 11 first, cross pattern, and then go back into a final 22. 11. Okay, 22.5 foot-pounds, torqued all the way down. So our head is back on, torqued, ready to go. So I got to put the lifters in, or the push rods, but it's a little tough to grab this shaft. So I'm going to work on the flywheel side now. It'll give me something to rotate it easily with, and then we'll get this valve latch set. I'm going to put this back cover on before I forget. Drop a Loctite. Before I put this flywheel back on, I'm going to lap this shaft. So I got some 600 grit clover compound, grinding compound. So I'm just going to take a little bit, put on the inside of there, hit the shaft. We'll spin this around a couple times and lap it up. All right, much better. I'll wipe all that off. Make sure that mates well. And then we'll drop our keyway in. Our 6-degree keyway. Get our timing advance out of this. So this is our 6-degree flywheel key from OMB Warehouse. All it is a cut key. So it's going to go into the same Woodruff keyway, but it's got that slice in it so that it can come over. So it's going to drop in just like that. Push that puppy in there. All right, there's our keyway. You see the cut is to the left. Same way as the package. And then this puppy goes on. Just gonna give it a little bit of anti-seize for the future. You'll see that play. It's supposed to go as far clockwise as possible. Okay, this has to go, it's counterclockwise, it goes forward, and then that goes on. We're gonna do a drop of Loctite on there. Torque spec for this is 60 foot-pounds. So I have my torque wrench set. And on the back side, I'm gonna hold back. I have the innards of the inside portion of an old driver on this side. So I'm just gonna put a wrench on that and hold it. It has a couple square notches, so grab it with an adjustable, and then 60 foot-pounds, and we'll lop that thing down. Set. Now we're going to put this ignition coil back on. I got my bolts, red Loctite on them already. I got a 13 thousandths inch feeler gauge, and I have my torque wrench set to 8 foot-pounds. So pull this thing down, put our kill switch back on. All right, kill switch back in, we clip the wire in. a little spot for it on the back right there. And this fuel line is going to come on the outside of that, I believe. It's going to set there. No, it comes on the outside. Sits like that. All right, get these started. Back this away from the magnet section, create our gap, make sure it's clean. Our feeler gauge back inside, run this around so the magnet section lines up. Make sure we're all lined up. Get our feeler gauge on, and torque these down. Okay, good to go. This is all torqued. I'm gonna put that spark plug back in. Okay, I just checked gap on this, so we're at 30 thousandths. And then this gets torqued to 15 foot-pounds. Gotta put these push rods back in, and then we'll get these gapped. Valve lash is 3/1000 of an inch on exhaust and intake. Check lash when engine is cold. Perfect. 3/1000 of an inch. Got our valve cover bolts, brand new valve cover gasket. It's cork, or cork material. So pretty simple. Just goes back on. These are 7 foot-pounds, these bolts, and they're just gonna get a drop of Loctite. Okay, good. All right. I'm gonna put this cowl cover back on because we're done underneath here. Just 4 screws. Just taking these to 8 foot-pounds. That's what everything technically is, all these small bolts. So just to be uniform and keep it consistent. Probably not necessary, but it's easy enough to do. I have the wrench out. For my kill switch on my handlebars, this one ties in. And then this guy ties in. So, I don't know, a lot of people omit these or get rid of this secondary on-off switch, but it's kind of nice to have a backup. If the thing's running away, you can just reach down and turn it off. I don't know. Why not? Can't hurt. If it becomes a problem, I'll rip it out, but it'll stay for now. You put this exhaust back on. Kit came with a new exhaust gasket. I feel like these get pretty beat up, so it's easy enough to just swap it out. There's the old, and we have the new. Nice, fresh. May as well. A lot of these exhausts, a lot of these header pipes come with hardware. The hardware is kind of cheesy, so I try to leave the studs if I can. The studs are definitely a lot stronger, so come on. There we go. Just gonna tweak, make sure that these oil drain plugs are nice and tight because they're easy to get to now. Okay, front. Actually, screw it. We'll fill this thing with oil right now. Just taking these to 20. They have flat washer, lock washer, and they're fine thread, and they have red Loctite on them, so they're not going anywhere. Do a little anti-seize on this, or rather a lot of anti-seize on this, because this likes to get very hot with the driver on it. Knock our keyway back in. All right, we have our bolt. Again, a whole lot of red Loctite. Belt has a flat side and a tapered side. Tapered side goes to the out. I actually think it says it on here. Yeah, one of them says it, but either way. So we can actually come on. There it is. All right, torque converter's back together. Can't put the cover on yet because I got to get the bearings for the rear wheels, or front and rear wheel. And then we'll put the chain back on and we'll be buttoned up here. Okay, I'm gonna hook this throttle cable back up and then hook this fuel line back in, and then we should be just about there. Put that in there. Okay. Okay, throttle's back in. So I got my new wheel bearings, Amazon special, nothing special, but 620-2RS. 2RS, and these spin. The ones that are in that wheel don't. The rears are better than the fronts, but still not great. So got a pack of 4. Pull the front wheel off, gonna knock those bearings out, knock these in, put that wheel on for good. Do the same with the rear. Get the chain back on, and then we should be able to test fire this thing, run it around a little bit, and get it dialed in. So I'm gonna do this now. So I have this 1/2-inch drill bit. I think it's 16 inches overall. It had a stripped edge on it, so I actually just cut the end so I can reach down inside and knock the bearing out from the inner race. Reach down inside until it stops, hold it against. I'll try to knock this puppy out. Loose tube in the middle. So if you can find either side, there's going to be a spot where you can catch a little lip. And if that's cut just like that, this is tool steel, it's hard. So is the inner race of the bearing. You can get to it, get to the edge, and knock it free. And then once one is out, that's the easy part. There's one, there's the inner tube, and now getting to the other one, because there's a shoulder in there. In that race shoulder. Now the other one, now that the tube dropped out, you just get to the edge of it, and you can actually knock it out from the outer race. There it goes. So, here's our wheel. The trick for putting these back in is, first off, little anti-seize, so that way when they got to come out again in the future, it's easy. So that's number one. Wipe off the excess so that you don't make a mess of yourself. I'm going to take your new bearing, find a socket that is the same, or generally the same diameter as the outer race, because you want to knock it in from the outer race uniformly. This is a 24mm impact socket, Harbor Freight. That's just a matter of getting it lined up. I like to kind of make sure that it gets started. And you can get that socket on there. Oop, I'm gonna go this direction. You hear the tone change. That's when it seats into the shoulder. So she's on. Now we got our inner pipe, and we need to get aligned. So we're going to drop our bolt inside, flip her over, drop our sleeve, and then we can take our, we're going to add a little anti-seize inside that edge, like I said. Drop our new bearing in, use the existing bolt as the alignment tool. Get it started, and then that's the beauty of a deep socket. Gives you a little bit of room for error. That's it. Got the tone change that I was talking about, and now we are dialed in. This wheel can go back on. That's pair of wheel bearings. Come on. So we'll put that front wheel back on. Okay, be gentle with my new brakes. There's our wheel. So the nice part is that this concentric sprocket sits on the outside of the wheel hub, so it's not in the way of knocking in or out the bearing. And then on the other side, same difference. So these ones, they're not bad, but they are a little tight. So I'm here now. It's time to do them. Big lip. Feels good. Let's see. It's coming. Yep, it's coming out. There she goes. Beautiful thing. Other side. That's it. Ready for new bearings. Do my little anti-seize in there. Get her started. Okay. We're gonna do the same we did with the other one, so we're gonna drop that bolt in all the way, flip her over, put her inner spacer on the inside. This keeps it center. Little anti-seize on the for the outer race. Line that puppy up. Of course, that's not going to fit, so I gotta kind of finagle this a little bit, but as long as it sticks up just a little bit, just so that way you can keep everything centered, it's good. I'm not hitting the actual bolt, I'm hitting the race. That's it. There's our rear wheel, ready to go. New bearings, nice and quick and easy. So, put that back on now. So our brake indexing bolt. So got our cotter pin, we're gonna pull that out. No washers on the inside, get that lined up. And it's flat washer, lock washer, nut. I'm gonna leave this relatively loose for now because I gotta tension up the get the chain tensioned, and then we have our cotter pin that I don't think I have enough room to get in right now, so I'm just gonna leave that to the side. We'll put that in after. I have my chain that's been soaking in PP Blaster for a couple days. It's already ready to go. Get that going. Put that on that sprocket. Come on there, buddy. Is that it? Perfect. Look at that. Beautiful. Get our connecting link started. We can probably do it all from right here. It's not too bad. Nice. And it's always pointed that direction on the top. So it's in the direction of torque. So as if the chain was pulling away from the clip, it would lock itself further on rather than unlock itself. These are 10mm. That feels pretty good. And it's about the same. I'll leave it right there. I can always tension it more. Just want to be about the same on both. And then I always like to tighten up the axle nut and then tighten those up so that way they don't come loose. But we'll get this down first. Okay, nice and tight. Chain's pretty tight, but it'll loosen up. It's just a safety to keep that from coming loose. Put that through. And then the next step is to put this
brake actuator. So we'll put this little tumbler through. Send that puppy through. I can tighten up our nut on the back. We can set our brake tension.
Alright, I think we're in good shape here. So, brakes are good, brakes are hooked up. I'm gonna put this cover back on for the belt. These are all 8mm screws, or bolts rather. Only 3 of them I can get on because the bottom one is in the way of the frame. And I always put a dab of Loctite on these to keep them from coming out. Stay like Alright, so she's all back together. I'm gonna fire this thing up, see what we need to do for tuning, but it should at least start with the stock, or not the stock, but the tuning that I had pre-ignition timing, pre-cam, and pre-connecting rod. So, we shall see. Get this thing ripping.